Hi everyone, welcome back to Sports Kabri. Arnava and Curious Harry with me. I'm Rahul Naresh. Guys, we had an exciting afternoon. Asian Games draw. Then we had the World Cup qualifiers draw. We'll start off talking about the World Cup qualifiers itself. First takes from both of you, Arnava, Curious Harry. Guys, what have you made of the draw so far? Because we'll be playing Kuwait, of course. We'll be playing the winners of Mongolia and Afghanistan, and I am blanking on the third team.
Qatar.
Qatar. Yeah, yeah. No, first I'll come to you. What are you made of the draw so far?
It's an interesting draw. It could have been tougher. It could have been easier. But it's a draw where India can finish in the top two, I think. And I think that's the main thing. But again, our home form has been very, very good, or is very, very good at the moment. Our away form is wanting because remember Afghanistan away. Kuwait away will be a tough one. I watched them in the SAF Cup final. They were good. And Qatar is an interesting one where I don't know where the Qataris really stand after the World Cup. That's the sort of thing. Qatar is the strongest team in the group. But all of this doesn't matter. We just need to finish second and get into the third round of the qualifiers. We've not done it.
Yeah.
We've never done it. This is our best ever chance. And once you get into that third round, who knows, right?
Yeah.
I heard this crazy one that someone was telling me that Sunil might be thinking of playing up to the end of the World Cup in 2026. So I said, if I saw his fitness in Bangalore, I wouldn't be surprised. So therefore, who knows? Who knows? Sunil Chetri taking us to the World Cup. Yeah, let's dream a little. Let's dream a little at the moment, yeah, it's not an easy group. I again say, it's and it's yeah. It could have been easier, but this is the way it is, and I would hope the boys do their best. And again, it could have. If I see some of these groups, it's especially Group C. I found very interesting. I don't know. I mean, we can go through the groups if you guys want to.
I
just
think
quickly. I mean, yeah. So we've got India's in Group A with Qatar, Kuwait, and the winner from Afghanistan and Mongolia. Then you have Group B, which is Japan, Syria, North Korea, and the winner from Myanmar, Macau. Then comes Group C, which I feel potentially is the strongest group, with South Korea, China, Thailand, and the winner from Singapore, Guam. Group D, Oman, Kyrgyz Republic, Malaysia, and the winner from Chinese Taipei and Timor-Leste. Group E, another one of those, Iran, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and the winner from Hong Kong, China, and Bhutan. Group F, Iraq, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Brunei, Dar es Salaam, another one of those strong ones. Group G, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Tajikistan, Cambodia, or Pakistan. Group H, UAE, Bahrain, the winner from Yemen, Sri Lanka, and the winner from Nepal and Laos. And Group I, Australia, Palestine, Lebanon, and the winner from Maldives and Bangladesh. So again,
Group I is also interesting one.
Group I surely is an interesting one. To me, I think the strongest potential group, depending on who wins it, I think is Group C, with South Korea, China, Thailand, Singapore, Guam. If Singapore gets into that group, that's an interesting one. And the other one is Group F, Iraq, Vietnam, a rising Philippines, and also an improving Indonesia, likely to beat Brunei Dar es Salaam easily. So those two are the strong ones. The ones which potentially look a little weaker are Group D with Oman, Kyrgyz Republic, Malaysia, and either Chinese Taipei and Timor-Leste coming in, or Group H, of course, with UAE, Bahrain, Yemen, Sri Lanka, or Nepal, Laos. That would have been the sort of a dream group for India. But still, we have to live with Group A. So we come back to Group A. Qatar, Kuwait confirmed. Afghanistan, Mongolia. We've played Mongolia recently. We've played Afghanistan in the last cycle of the qualifiers. Hiren Bhai, first reaction to this draw?
My first reaction is it's a tricky group, no doubt. It's not the group of death also, and easy भी नहीं है. Tricky group है, 50-50 I would say, because आपको पोर्ट 3 से आपको मतलब पोटेंशियली पोर्ट 3 की टफेस्ट टीम, वन ऑफ द टफेस्ट टीम मिली है कुवैत, एंड पोर्ट 1 से आपको मतलब क्या बोलते हैं कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया, ईरान, साउथ कोरिया, जापान या सऊदी अरेबिया में से कोई नहीं मिला है, तो वो एक अच्छी बात है कि आपको चलो कतार मिला है. कतार के सामने आप ऑलरेडी खेल चुके हो, एंड आपने बिल्कुल सही बोला कि आफ्टर दी वर्ल्ड कप कतार का मतलब जो फॉर्म है वो डीपी हुआ है. न्यूजीलैंड के सामने हमने देखा था वो मैच एबंडेंट हो गया, 1-0 पे वहाँ पे न्यूजीलैंड लीड कर रही थी, तो वहाँ पे हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते कि एटलीस्ट हमारे चांसेस ड्रॉ के हैं. एंड द मेन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग इस ग्रुप में ये है कि हम यहाँ पे लाइटली किसी चीज को नहीं ले सकते कि भाई यहाँ पे कुवैत वाला मैच या फिर वो, क्योंकि अगर आपको इजी ग्रुप मिलता तो थोड़ा सा आप अगर आपका एक आध मैच अगर आपका ऊपर नीचे गया तो आप वहाँ पे उतना ज्यादा दिक्कत नहीं आता. यहाँ पे आपको सभी मैच में आई थिंक ऑन पॉइंट रहना पड़ेगा. अफगानिस्तान के सामने जैसे आपने बोला कि भाई लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स में हमने ड्रॉ किया था, जो कि इवेंचुअली अफगानिस्तान और बांग्लादेश वाला ड्रॉ ही हमें लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप में वो कर गया क्वालिफायर्स में, नहीं तो लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स में भी हमारे चांसेस थे कि हम जा सकते थे आगे. तो आई थिंक अफगानिस्तान वाला अवे गेम भी काफी ट्रिकी रहेगा. कुवैत वाला ऑब्वियसली आई थिंक आल्सो गोइंग टू ट्रिकी. कतार वर्सेस कुवैत आई थिंक विल बी इंटरेस्टिंग गेम, एंड आई थिंक वो इंडिया को यहाँ पे काफी बेनिफिशियल होगा कि हाउ दे आर गोइंग. अगर वहां पे ड्रॉ आता है या फिर कुवैत वहां पे कुछ ऊपर नीचे करती है तो इंडिया के लिए चांस है. लेकिन आई थिंक इट्स अ ग्रुप वेयर
But
इंडिया
that's the
कैन
danger,
डेफिनेटली.
Hiren
हाँ,
bhai. That is also the danger for India.
डेंजर.
If
हाँ
Kuwait gets a result against Qatar, and
हाँ
Qatar gets results against India and whoever is the
इंडिया.
fourth team in the group, then suddenly
हाँ
Kuwait is just, I think our danger is best is let we just lost
Qatar
Hiren.
beat all
Like,
the groups, like
yeah,
all the
let
other teams. Yeah.
all the other teams and let India try and focus on beating Kuwait and Afghanistan again at home. I think we should be able to do that. Our question is, you know, they'll beating Kuwait and Afghanistan away is going to be our challenge. So therefore, I think India needs to ensure their the home wins. Qatar is an interesting one because I think Qatar will also remember the 0-0 draw in September 2019. Where I remember we really played well, but and therefore I feel it's a mixed group for me. It's not an easy one. It's not an easy one. But it's not as tough as it could have been as well. So therefore, it's somewhere in between. And if we really, this is the time to prove, have we really progressed? I think that, Rahul, I think that's the big thing for us. Can we prove that we have really progressed, or has this sort of hype over the last 3-4 months been just, for the sake of it? This is the biggest stage. And for us as India, we need to get into round 3.
Yeah.
Be it Igor Stimac for the whole campaign or whoever comes in after Igor Stimac, that needs to be his mission to take us to the next round. That's going to be a very, very interesting one.
Rudra says anyone can beat anyone in our group. Do you
Don't
guys
think
agree?
so. I don't think so. I think Qatar is still the strongest team. I don't think that India, Kuwait, and Afghanistan or Mongolia are going to be able to beat Qatar. I think Qatar still is the strongest team. But again, Qataris are playing at a higher level. So therefore, I would think, I think that's the big one.
Do you think India can get a result against Qatar at home?
At home, we can get a result against anybody. I think, and I think Qatar is not also amongst the sort of top 5-6 Asian nations. They are, one of the weaker ones in that sort of, pot one. So therefore, why not? If we want to achieve something in football, we need to start beating such teams as Qatar. Let's go and beat Qatar. Come on. We drew them away. Why not this time try at home at least to try and play for a win?
And the second match is against Qatar at the home. First is against away Kuwait, 16th of November, and 21st November को सेकंड मैच है वो कतर के सामने होम में. एंड डेफिनेटली अगर आप राउंड 2 में ही अगर आप ये बोलेंगे कि भाई हम इसके सामने ये हुआ, तो राउंड 3 में तो फिर आपका कोई चांस ही नहीं है कि आप इससे मतलब बढ़िया ही टीमें आपको मिलने वाली है राउंड 3 में. तो फिर तो मतलब जो हम बोल रहे हैं कि भाई कैसे भी करके राउंड 2 में से निकल के राउंड 3 में चले जाए, तो फिर वहां पे आपको कुछ नहीं होगा, आप वहां पे फिर बॉटम हाफ पे फिनिश करोगे. तो आई थिंक वी हैव टू बीट कुवैत, कतार, पर्टिकुलरली इन अवे मैचेस. आई थिंक मेरे को लगता है कि अवे मैचेस विल बी रियली क्रूशियल कि हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू टैकल देम. एंड आई थिंक the last match is against Qatar at the June of 2024. So उससे पहले आई थिंक डिसाइड हो गया होगा कि वो इज गोइंग इनटू द राउंड 3. आई थिंक जो एक लास्ट मैच इंडिया का बचेगा उतना ज्यादा आई थिंक मेरे को नहीं लगता कि उसके ऊपर हमें डिपेंड रहना पड़ेगा. उससे पहले आई थिंक अगर हम मेरे को तो ये लगता है कि अगर इफ वी प्ले बेस्ट अगेंस्ट कुवैत एंड अफगानिस्तान देन नो नीड टू, मतलब आपको कतार के सामने कोई भी रिजल्ट आए फिर फर्क नहीं पड़ता आपको.
Exactly. But if we can pull up a result against Qatar and finish, I think first, there is no better morale booster than that going into the next round. And again, I think there's a feel good factor. I don't know why, but suddenly I'm feeling very optimistic about India's chances. But who knows?
I don't know, sir. I want to know if we finish top at the group, then anything beneficial in round 3. I think there will be according to the ranking. Port will be divided according to the ranking.
No.
So there will be no benefit.
See, there are 18 teams being divided into 6 groups, which means depending on the rankings, 3 groups of 18 teams. No? So 6 teams go straight to the World Cup, which means 2 top teams you will get anyway. So if we look at, or let's put it this way, from the 9 groups, if the top seeded pot groups, each group will most probably have 3 teams from that pot 1. So therefore, for me, my feeling is as long as we get out of this group and get into the 3rd round, that's what we need. If we don't do it, that's failure. Let's set the bar higher now. Let's set the bar higher for ourselves. And the point is here is, I think we need to focus on, first of all, ensuring we win at home. We win at home against Kuwait. We win at home against Afghanistan. And we also try and beat, so therefore, that is something that, get a good result against Qatar. But the point is, if we can get wins against Kuwait and against Afghanistan and Mongolia at home, and at least draw those 2 games away, we are through. Whatever happens in the rest of the group. So that needs to be our, that's the aim.
Again, just a quick question, guys. Do you think the Indian team that played Kuwait right now in the SAF Championships was our strongest Indian lineup? We had a couple of guys missing. Exactly. So, Arnava, do you think with the strongest lineup, you can talk about the inclusions that you would want to have? Do you think a win should at least be like 60-70% certain?
No, if I go back at watching the game in Kuwait, let's put it this way, that match was goalless in the sense of it was a draw, not goalless. It was a draw in 90 minutes and in 120 minutes. And therefore, and I felt Kuwait football-wise was better than us, right? So from that standpoint, I feel we have to see how we can build on that, right? So therefore, I think it's not easy again. And starting against Kuwait away, then playing Qatar at home, that's going to be a big ask. That's a big ask for our team going into those. So therefore, I feel if for example Apuya is back, I would hope Apuya is fit. I think creative Brandon Fernandez would also not be a bad addition if he's fit again. Having potentially Sana as a backup, a centre back as well. So therefore, those kind of players I think would add something. And again, we've got 2-3 months. It's going to be interesting to see how we set it up. And I think Kuwait will be gunning for revenge. They will be gunning for revenge after that final loss. So therefore, they'll and we saw how good Kuwait were. I mean, Kuwait's ranking does not replicate of how good or how bad again. And I think Afghanistan is going to be a tricky one because Afghanistan is going to call on their diaspora, as they always do, mainly here from Germany and across Europe, from North America as well. We're going to play them somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in Central Asia again. And if that's, hopefully it's going to be the June window. If it's in March, it's going to be cold. It's going to be freezing weather. So that weather factor comes in as well. So therefore, I'm hopeful that we can do something. But we'll also have to be smart in deciding where we play whom at home.
Yeah.
I think we need sellout venues. I'm already seeing Shaggy writing, get Kuwait back to the Kantirava.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that is one. But again, I would rather look at options, maybe, at options of potentially playing maybe in Kolkata, maybe 66,000 against whoever. Maybe Qatar in the October window. In November window. So therefore, you have to be very wise where you play, because you need to utilize that home advantage. And I think that again, Mumbai is too small. Otherwise, Mumbai would have been an option as well. I think it's Bangalore, it's Kolkata. I don't know how Bhubaneswar was for the Interconti, but Guwahati was great for the Oman match. But again, there's problems in the Northeast, so I don't know if they're going to look at the Northeast now. That's another interesting one where we'll see how it really pans out.
Do you guys think some of the other teams in our group, say from pot 3 and pot 4, looking and saying, "Oh, we're glad we got India from pot 2," and how do you think they'll be approaching this?
Yeah, I think डेफिनेटली आई थिंक मेरे को लगता है कि जितना हमें क्या बोलते कि टेंशन है, आई थिंक कुवैत, कतार, अफगानिस्तान को भी इंडिया को देख के मतलब दे आर नॉट कि मतलब हमें कोई इजी ग्रुप मिला है. आई थिंक उनके लिए भी, कुवैत के लिए भी चैलेंजिंग ही हो गया है कि भाई उनको भी इस तरह का ग्रुप मिला है. डेफिनेटली वो भी नहीं चाहता होगा कि इंडिया के सामने फिर से वो करना पड़े. लेकिन ट्रिकी ग्रुप तो है, ऐसा नहीं है कि स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड ग्रुप है कि आप इजीली मतलब इनको हरा देंगे, क्योंकि हमारी जितने ये इसमें दिक्कत ये है कि हमने इन सभी के सामने ऑलरेडी खेल चुके हैं मैच, एंड हमको पता है कि हमारा किस तरह का परफॉर्मेंस रहा है. तो दैट विल बी द मेन इशू. हमने अफगानिस्तान के सामने भी, मतलब अफगानिस्तान हमारे सामने ऑलवेज, वो जो अफगानिस्तान, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल, ये ऐसी टीम है कि इंडिया के सामने कुछ अलग ही मतलब परफॉर्मेंस निकालती है. इनका एम ही रहता है कि भाई इंडिया को हराना है कैसे भी करके. तो दैट वाई इट्स ट्रिकी मैचेस. एंड अफगानिस्तान के मैचेस मार्च में ही होने वाले हैं दोनों, होम एंड अवे. तो लेट्स सी उस टाइम पे, क्योंकि आपको उतना ज़्यादा प्रिपरेशन का भी अब ये भी इशू आएगा कि आप प्रिपरेशन के कैंप का एक अलग से वो चक्कर आएगा नवंबर में भी. आई डोंट थिंक सो कि एक वीक भी मेरे को तो नहीं लगता कि इसके लिए मिलेगा, क्योंकि आपका ऑलरेडी ISL चल रहा होगा, मार्च में भी चल रहा होगा, जून में आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो कि यू विल गेट 10-15 डेज जब लास्ट के 2 मैच बचे होंगे वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स के. तो आई थिंक वो भी एक, अब आपको जैसे सर ने बोला कि वेन्यूज का डिसाइड करना है, वैसे भी आपको ये भी डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा. आई थिंक कोची ऑल्सो वेरी गुड ऑप्शन. आई थिंक कोची में भी काफी लंबे टाइम से इंटरनेशनल मैचेस हुए नहीं.
आई डोंट थिंक कोची इज a FIFA match venue, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. What about the Fatoda, गोवा वाला? I think that's
गोवा वाला है, गोवा वाला है, Trivandrum भी है. There are options. My thing is, where will you get a full stadium? Where will you get support? That is the key.
Then you have to go to Salt Lake.
Exactly.
So Salt Lake तो है. Salt Lake for one of the games I think should be having, Kantirava should be hosting. So I think if potentially you could play Qatar and Calcutta, Kuwait and Bangalore, I think those would be sort of 2 matches which work. And then Afghanistan, you can decide. Afghanistan, I remember Changte had his brilliant debut in 2015 at Trivandrum, So therefore, again, we will have to see which venue really fits and which
JLN also, JLN Delhi also, I think
will not. You will not get the crowds. That's not, and the stadium is too big. The stadium is too big. You're too far away. It doesn't. Then I would rather go to the Nehru Stadium in Fatorda in Goa. That would be most probably better, which hasn't been utilized much for an India game in recent past. So again, there are options. Again, Mumbai is too small, but otherwise I would have said, the Mumbai Football Arena would be a good home venue for India, because they've won the Intercontinental Cup and all those matches in the past over there. So yeah, it would be interesting.
Rudra saying don't say Kativa because of because of the state of the pitch for SAF. But I think with the ISL season on, it'll definitely be much better
It
than
doesn't
what
matter.
it
We
was.
won, right? So who cares about the pitch?
Yeah, it's also true.
So that's a let's take every bit of advantage that we can take, right? I think the atmosphere at the Kanti Dhaba was electric, so therefore
Yeah,
Kanti Dhaba is there again. Vijay and Vishnu says Bengal, Bangalore, Trivandrum, Manipur. Again, Manipur is
Manipur.
as the others will know. Again, is where do we stand? And I don't think that's an option, because again, Manipur will not sort itself out in the next few weeks and months, so that's not an option. But I think Kolkata again. I think it also depends on which government comes forward. It might be even that that the AFF might look at Odisha and Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar has been and the Odisha government under the leadership of Naveen Patnaik. Uh, uh, yeah,
yeah.
so it's going to be interesting.
Ash is asking for thoughts on Asian games draw, and we just
Yeah, we will come
quickly
to that. We'll
reflect on
come to
that.
that. Let's
Yeah,
finish off the World Cup qualifiers and the Asian Cup qualifiers. I think the good thing would be for India, if we can make it to the third round also, is that we would directly qualify for the Asian Cup. So that is another added bonus. Um, uh, um, and that's going to be the question that we'll have to decide ourselves. What do we go for? Therefore, I said I think beating Kuwait, Afghanistan at home, drawing them away, minimum. That needs to be our aim, because if we get those 8 points, no, anything can happen in that group. We are through. That needs to be our focus. That needs to be our aim. So therefore, I feel that's the big challenge for us, and I hope we can really somehow fulfill that.
yeah. Uh, guys, let's move on to the Asian games now.
Yep, you
Okay.
can.
So India's group, the men's group right now is China, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and us. Obviously, what do you guys make of this group? This is a better group, slightly better group, I think, compared to the World Cup qualifiers
I think
group. We got a little lucky.
out of three draws, I think this is the easiest one, because the
Exactly.
women's team also Thailand is a tricky match. Thailand and Taiwan and India, but I think this is the easiest in terms of the Myanmar and Bangladesh. No doubt, China will be a little bit tricky match also because they are playing at home. So वो एक interesting सा रहेगा. लेकिन under 23 में I think we can beat China also. So it will be interesting to see. I think definitely I think अरुण सर इसमें straight quarter finals ही होते हैं ना. I think.
So I will not agree on that, because I think the women's draw I feel is the easiest. I think this draw is very tricky. If you have to remember, Bangladesh last time around made it to the round of 16. They actually beat the
16.
Qatar. Huh.
Hmm.
So Bangladesh will also come with a strong team, and Myanmar again. We are playing in China. We're not playing at home. So away, and the Chinese at home in such a competition, very difficult to beat. I think this is
Very
a
very
this is
difficult.
this is I feel it's a tough draw. It's a tough draw.
Hmm.
And again, if we were playing at home, it's a different story. If we're playing away, we're playing in China. Uh, um, there is and there is a round of 16 in the Asian Games, so you can
Yeah.
even finish third potentially to move on. So therefore, that might be something, I think, again. But this is, I don't know how much we talked about it last night, right? How much time will you get for preparations? Who's going to be in the squad? Have they ever trained together like this? There are a lot of factors which come together. So therefore, I'm not sure about the men's team going into the Asian Games, to be very clear, because I don't know who's going to be playing. Because we've heard that Sunil, Sandesh, and Gurpreet are supposed to be joining the squad, but I don't know otherwise. Where do we how do we build this? So therefore, it's let's see. I think the next, as I said, this whole September window thing will be very, very interesting to see who plays what, because the Asian Games happen in parallel to the first round of matches in the Champions League and the AFC Cup. So therefore, for me, to be very, very honest, if I was asked to get the government and how we got in and all that kind of stuff, I would have used this as exposure. Minimum 3 matches, give boys exposure who need that international level exposure. So we gain out of it. But now looking at things, let's wait and see.
I mean, regardless of the team that we put out, Harry, don't you think we should be able to make it to the next round at least. You can finish third and make it. So we should definitely make it to at least the round of 16, and then we can see.
As per the qualities we have in under 23, either it's a main team or whichever player will be selected from that 50 probables. I think we have that capabilities ki we can goes into the next round. Round of 16, I think at least we can expect from this group of players, because most of them are playing for their ISL clubs and a level where you can expect ki, but particularly I think Myanmar and Bangladesh matches we can go through, निकाल सकते हैं उस मैचेस को. And there will be Sunil sir, Sandesh Singhan and Kopi Sandhu also there. So I think the leadership and the game understanding also will be very good. So मेरे को I think इतना तो expect कर ही सकते हैं, मतलब minimum I think it's a round of 16. उसके आगे जाए तो that's a well and bonus good, मतलब वो तो एक अच्छा ही हो जाएगा. लेकिन I think round of 16 is a minimum for this team.
Yeah, I think 23 teams in 23 23 teams I think in total, and you're removing 7 and it's 16 teams. I think we have to make it. I think rather than uh, let's make it, I think we have to make the round of 16 because it looks like a decent ask.
I think
Well, the
20
women's
23
team,
अरुणा सर
23.
23 टीम्स में सर राउंड ऑफ 16 होगा क्या 23 टीम्स में से? आई थिंक डायरेक्ट
That
क्वार्टर
is what
फाइनल कर सकते हैं.
normally they do round of 16. So I don't. I'm just actually I'm just searching on the net the format because I didn't find it last night. I was actually looking at it because
बिकॉज क्वार्टर फाइनल में इजी हो जाएगा, 6 ग्रुप में से टॉप टीम और 2 बेस्ट रनर अप, तो वो बेस्ट रहेगा. वो ये तो 23 में से तो राउंड ऑफ 16 करने का कोई मतलब ही नहीं है फिर.
actually not. But again, it makes no sense on one side. On the other side, it just makes sense again. And also, if I look at the other groups, just to go through them again, also here in men's competition, we've been drawn in Group A. Group B has Vietnam, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Mongolia.
Tricky group.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Uzbekistan, Syria, Hong Kong, Afghanistan in Group C. Group D, Japan, Palestine, Qatar. Group E, South Korea, Bahrain, Thailand, Kuwait. And Group F, North Korea, Indonesia, Kyrgyz Republic, and Chinese Taipei. So interesting to see who all have actually been willing to send their teams in the men's competition. And therefore, yeah, again, I say it's an interesting draw. Again, I see some of the questions in regard to can we challenge the Chinese? Should we challenge the Chinese? So therefore, I don't know. Again, drawing China in a friendly matches and competitive matches to me always are two different pair of shoes, right? So for me, it is. And we're playing this tournament in China. So China, for these Olympic level competitions, always is very well prepared. So therefore, I think it's going to be quite tough. And our team, whichever we're going to send, most probably will not be settled. So don't forget that. I think the Chinese will have been or are actually already most probably preparing for this competition, while we don't even know who the team will be. So therefore, those kind of factors play in. So therefore, let's see how it goes.
Well, speaking about the women's team, they've been drawn into the 3-team group. They're in Group B with Thailand and Chinese Taipei. What are your reactions, guys? Harry, what's your reaction? First take on this?
डेफिनेटली आई थिंक एक बात अच्छी हुई कि हम 3 टीम के ग्रुप में आ गए हैं, तो वो एक अच्छी बात है कि आपको मतलब एक और एक्स्ट्रा टीम यहाँ पे खेलनी नहीं है. लेकिन आई थिंक थाईलैंड विल बी अ टफ मैच बिकॉज दे आर करंटली आई थिंक 5th ऑन एशिया इन वुमेन्स टीम. So they have a very good squad, very good team, and we are currently on 12th in Asia. So clearly वहाँ पे आपको एक अच्छी मतलब टॉप 5 टीम मिली है एशिया की. ताइवान के सामने हम मैच निकाल सकते हैं. आई थिंक उसमें भी देखना रहेगा कि किस तरह का उसमें फॉर्मेट है. आई थिंक उसमें तो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली इट विल बी डायरेक्ट क्वार्टर फाइनल. हाँ, इट हैज टू बी क्वार्टर फाइनल, अदरवाइज देयर इज नो मतलब 5 ही ग्रुप है यहाँ पे, उसमें से भी 3 ग्रुप में 3 टीमें हैं. तो आई थिंक तो आई थिंक फिर भी वहां पे अगर हम ताइवान को भी हरा देते हैं तो देन वी कैन मूव इनटू द नेक्स्ट राउंड. सो वी इन वुमेन्स आई थिंक आई हैव एक्सपेक्टेशन कि दे कैन डेफिनेटली गोस एटलीस्ट क्वार्टर फाइनल से आगे. तो लेट्स सी, फिर तो यू नेवर नो.
Yeah, Arnava, three teams finishing second will qualify. There are five groups. What are India's chances?
See, looking at where our women stand, and looking also at the exposure level and other things, I think it's important for us to realize Chinese Taipei needs to be beaten first. But if we dream of making it to the 2027 World Cup, um, then I think you have to try and beat Thailand. I mean, I saw the other night Philippines beat New Zealand in the World Cup, right? Of course, Philippines is not the Philippines because most of the girls are actually Americans, right? So
Americans.
we come back to we'll do another story, another
Hmm.
episode on players of Indian origin, I guess, very very soon on that topic
Hmm.
again. Um, so therefore, from that side, I feel yeah. If I look at the other groups, I mean, you didn't get a China, you didn't get a North Korea, you didn't get a Japan, you didn't get a South Korea. Um, this is a group. Why not try and win it? Why not try and win this group and go as a group winner into the quarterfinals? That to me, um, um, you know. So therefore, Ashu, I get your point that Thailand and Chinese Taipei are ranked higher than us, but again, we have not. Again, we spoiled all of this last year with the whole COVID fiasco at the AFC Women's Asian Cup. So I think otherwise we would be ranked higher. Maybe we would be playing the World Cup now. So
Hmm.
therefore, if we want to, you know, uh, I'm interested to see if we can really win this one, because this to me um, is the one where I have the best feeling of that we can pull off something. And I think the
Mhm.
Indian women's have been preparing. Thomas Dennerby is back again. I think that's a big thing for the AFF to have him back. That he's staying with the AFF and with the women's team, and he's gotten a lot out of them. And this is a real test for the Indian women's team. And if again, forget the rankings, this can be the one. With the men's under 23s, again, we don't know where we stand. And I see Rudro asking, can we top all three groups? In theory, yes. We can also finish last in all three groups, right? So that's your theoretical part of it. I want to take the positives out. I want to, if I see all the draws, I want to see us in the women's at least get into the quarters, ideally win the group. Under 23 Asian games, I think we should get into the pre-quarters, whoever's playing. And with the men's in the joint qualifiers for the World Cup and Asian Cup, I think we should get into the third round of the World Cup qualifiers. If we can get those all three done in the next 9 months, 10 months, yeah, actually, sorry, 11 months. We're still in July, so still next June. Um, that would be a huge success. So therefore, that has to be again, and I think these should be the yardsticks for us. If we look at what we've achieved over the last few weeks. That's the thing. So therefore, if you look at the draws, women's again, Thailand, Chinese Taipei, yeah, we should try and pull off something out there. If we look at China, Bangladesh, Myanmar in the Asian Games men's competition, for me it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. It sounds, it doesn't have the big name sort of to it, but again, how prepared is our team? And if I look at the World Cup qualifiers, again, another, even I feel even more trickier because um, Kuwait, potentially Afghanistan. I mean, I would prefer Mongolia of Afghanistan. Let's put it this way. That would make, I think, the group easier for us. But if we're playing Afghanistan and Kuwait, the away matches will be tricky. So therefore, um, an interesting draw. But again, looking at all three draws, uh, uh, um, it could have been tougher than it actually has come out to be. So therefore, I think let's be happy with that.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? What do you think? What do you think we'll do in all these groups? I actually am quite optimistic. I think we've got a decent draw. It's not all gloom and doom, and it's kind of a good Thursday afternoon. What do you?
मतलब I think if we compare to men's Asian Cup draw, I think this will be much more, you can say, कि easier compared to that draw, Uzbekistan, Australia, Syria. If we compare women's Olympic qualifiers draw, Uzbekistan, Vietnam, Japan. Then also it's for women's is also a very easy group. So yeah, comparative to that, I think India, all the three draws are where India can goes into the next stage of the competition. Either it's a round three in the World Cup qualifiers. Women's के लिए I think quarter finals and men's के लिए I think round of 16. तो इतना तो मतलब minimum I think we can expect. फिर वहां से फिर आपको पता है कि कुछ भी मतलब मैच उस दिन मैच टेस्ट के ऊपर किस तरह से परफॉर्मेंस आती है उसके ऊपर ज्यादा डिपेंड रहता है. तो आई थिंक दिस इज द लीस्ट एक्सपेक्टेशन ऑफ इंडियन फुटबॉल फैंस फ्रॉम द टीम, both the teams, men's and women's.
Anava, final thoughts?
I think again, as I said, I think good draws, and if we want to, SKN, if we want to take that final question again. At the moment, it seems Igor's contract is gonna end in January or February, depending on when the Asian Cup is over for India. So that's the status, and we'll have to wait and see how things go. But I think normally I think people will say that the cycle is over of those 4 years. I think a new coach would be potentially coming in. So let's see what happens to that. So that question will be lingering. And I think that question will be raised, I think, after the Kuwait and Qatar game in the World Cup qualifiers. I think in November, the question will be like, if the results go our way, potentially people will say, extend. If it doesn't go our way, and you know how quickly, the pendulum goes this way or that way. I think again, World Cup draw is good for the qualifiers. Qatar isn't the biggest and the toughest team, but Kuwait is a one, where we had our problems and our issue, and again the rankings are deceiving. And Afghanistan away certainly is going to be a tough one. So that's that. Asian Games, as I said, it depends on how well prepared our under 23s go into that, and who is going to be on under 23s. And I feel the women's could pull something off. I think and Denabi is going to get a lot of time with the girls. I think that is the one where I'm most looking forward to, that India could pull off maybe a surprise and get a little further in the competition. I think that would be lovely to see.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and watch, and we'll see. We'll be following every step of the way. We've got the Asian Games first, then we've got the World Cup qualifiers in November. So guys, stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled out for everything that's coming your way in the next couple of months. It's going to be very, very crucial next few months for Indian football. Again, thank you, Curious Harry. Thank you, Arunava. Please share, like, and subscribe to Sports Kabri, to Arun Foot and Curious Harry. We'll catch you guys yet again in another podcast.
Thanks a lot. And we'll be back next week, next Wednesday. That's the plan. Because on Thursday, the Durand Cup starts. So hopefully we'll be able to do a Durand Cup preview next Wednesday evening at 9:30. So as Rahul said, share, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye.